Support for the roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community. Just ahead on the local government news roundup, a mixed bag for councils in the federal budget. ICAC probes a pink ops clique at Parramatta Council. A Queensland mayor goes on medical leave. An urgent call for funding reform from a rural council. A new study reveals the pressures on councils to respond to a homelessness crisis. Domestic violence charges dropped against a local mayor. And another South Australian council CEO is set to resign. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. All of that and more just ahead on the Local Government News Roundup, your number one local government podcast, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. Hello there, good to have you with us wherever you are in Australia or indeed around the world. This is where we catch you up on some of the latest events from around the world of local government, and we start with today's top 3 stories. The federal budget has been handed down and the nation's peak local government body is calling it a mixed bag for Australian communities. While the Australian Local Government Association welcomed a $2 billion boost for housing infrastructure to help build 65,000 new homes, President Matt Burnett warns that essential services are still under threat. Financial assistance grants have slipped to less than 0.5% of federal tax revenue, leaving councils struggling with soaring fuel costs and disaster recovery. While the Roads to Recovery program will see $1 billion annually, local leaders argue that without more certain untied funding, the building blocks of our neighbourhoods remain at risk. The Local Government Association of Queensland welcomed the $2 billion federal boost for housing infrastructure, but it's warning of a looming black hole in council budgets, and it's added its voice to the call for a permanent 1% share of Commonwealth revenue to offset the phasing out of road programs and the rising costs of cost shifting from higher levels of government. At number 2 today, the city of Parramatta Council under the microscope as ICAC's Operation Novara kicked off on Monday, with allegations of a culture of paranoia and secret executive cliques. The Sydney Morning Herald Live blogged proceedings on day 1. Council Assisting Joanna Davidson SC detailed the rise of a trio known as the Pink Ladies or Pink Ops, consisting of former CEO Gail Connolly and executives Roxanne Thornton and Angela Jones-Blaney. They're accused of subverting recruitment to favour friends and holidaying together while bypassing proper transparency. Perhaps most shocking were claims that Ms Connolly covertly accessed the emails of an elected councillor and ordered surveillance on staff members she perceived as threats. The City of Parramatta's legal team told the inquiry the council now has zero tolerance for misconduct. Day 2 focused on evidence from a former group manager who described bullying, internal conflict and an unusual recruitment outcome involving a newly created role. The inquiry is continuing. And Redland City Council Mayor Joss Mitchell is taking 6 weeks medical leave, saying she needs time to recover from an ongoing health issue. The Brisbane Times reported her leave comes amid ongoing turmoil at the South East Queensland Council, which has been plagued by infighting and a high number of conduct complaints. Councillor Mitchell recently spoke out, alleging unacceptable behaviour and bullying in local politics. In further reporting, the Times spoke to former councillor Adelia Berridge, who says the council has a long history of cultural problems, including a leak of her private medical information to an anonymous Facebook page. She also alleges complaints processes were used as a political weapon during her term. And those are the top 3 stories for today, Wednesday, the 13th of May. Now for some Victorian news, and a 4th rally is planned as residents continue to call for the resignation of Wyndham Mayor Preet Singh. The Star Weekly reported that the protest will be staged next Monday evening at the Civic Centre. In another sign that the controversy is not going away anytime soon, the Australian Sikh Council and several Sikh organisations have joined calls for Councillor Singh to resign. In a joint statement, they say a character reference given by Councillor Singh before he was elected to the council downplayed the seriousness of child sexual abuse, and they argue the mayor is no longer fit to hold office. As community outrage grows, municipal monitors Jim Gifford and Joanne Mazzio have officially begun their oversight role after being appointed by the new local government minister Paul Hamer. The Age reported yesterday that Councillor Singh is holding firm in his refusal to resign. He says it's a politically and racially motivated campaign and that resigning would be an admission of guilt. Murrindindi Shire Council is warning that rural communities are being structurally set up to fail under the current local government funding model. Speaking to a federal inquiry, Mayor Damien Gallagher and CEO Livia Bonazzi have urged the Commonwealth to restore financial assistance grants to 1% of tax revenue, arguing that small councils are struggling to maintain basic roads and services following the devastating January bushfires. Murrindindi Shire experienced approximately 48% of the state's structural losses during those fires, yet it receives only around 8% of municipal recovery funding. Southern Grampians Shire Council has a new councillor after a countback this week to replace Albert Calvano, who recently stepped down. Tamazin Ramsey Grounds was the successful candidate from those who were still eligible from the last election. And at Glenelg Shire Council, a countback has been scheduled to replace Mike Noski, who recently resigned in dramatic fashion partway through a council meeting. The BEC says a countback will take place online on Monday the 1st of June, involving unsuccessful candidates from the 2024 election who are still eligible to be elected. Greater Shepparton residents will have to wait a little longer for a curbside hard waste service after the council hit the reset button on its plans. Greater Shepparton City Council has formally abandoned its current procurement process for a municipal hard waste collection service. It determined that the recent tender process failed to meet the competitive requirements needed to award a long-term contract. The delay means collections are now not expected to begin until the 27-28 financial year. A new tender process is slated to begin in the next financial year. In Warrnambool, the council has released a draft domestic animal management plan proposing increased patrols and a renewed push for responsible pet ownership. The plan targets issues like nuisance animals, dog attacks and population control, with a strong focus on cat containment from sunset to sunrise. Public submissions close Friday, May 29. Macedon Ranges Shire Council has moved into the next stage of its upgrade of the Kyneton Skate Park. Consultation is now open on a final concept design. Moonee Valley City Council says Ascot Vale residents have helped create a permanent public artwork for the Ascot Vale Library. Multidisciplinary artist Olivia Chin ran community workshops using techniques including cyanotype printing, with works inspired by Queen's Park. One artwork has been installed so far, with 2 more to follow later this year. New welcome signs are on the way for Corangamite Shire, with the council set to begin rolling out a modern upgrade to replace the ageing blue signs that are nearly 20 years old. Mayor Kate Macon says the new welcome town entrance and locality signs aim to boost community pride and support tourism. The first 10 signs are expected to be installed in the coming weeks. And in some very good news, Baw Baw Shire Council's official CEO Tilla Buden has announced she will soon be clear to take up her position, 5 months after announcing a surprise breast cancer diagnosis. Ms Buden has shared the good news that her treatment has been successful and she'll soon commence a part-time transition to the role working with interim CEO Sally Jones. Local councils across Australia say they are being left on the front lines of a surging homelessness crisis. A University of New South Wales study reveals 2/3 of councils now view homelessness as a significant or acute issue, a massive jump from just 10% a decade ago. And researchers say the crisis has moved well beyond inner cities into regional and coastal hubs, leaving local governments struggling to provide support without adequate funding or housing supply. We'll take a deep dive into that new study from the University of New South Wales in a special episode of the Local Government News Roundup coming your way on Friday. On to the New South Wales report. In a stunning late-night reversal, Liverpool Council has scrapped a controversial plan to slash its workforce following an explosive public meeting. The Daily Telegraph reported the chambers were a sea of high-vis this week as dozens of workers swarmed the public gallery to protest proposed mass sackings. The original plan, which aimed to cut 140 jobs and reduce wages by up to 15%, was defeated after a group of councillors blocked an attempt to hold the debate behind closed doors. Instead of cuts, the councillors now voted to increase employee spending to over $114 million. The new budget includes funding to fill 26 vacant roles in parks, waste and compliance services. The council's CEO has been ordered to remodel the budget ahead of the next meeting. Sky-high developments could be coming to Brighton, Les Sands and Rockdale. A Bayside Council study suggests developers may need to build up to 20 stories high to make future projects economically viable. The St George and Sutherland Shire leader reports that while the plan is preliminary, the council will soon begin community engagement to gauge public reaction. Georges River pensioners will not see a boost to their rates rebates this year. The St George and Sutherland Shire leader reports that councillors have voted 9-4 against reinstating a voluntary local subsidy, citing a nearly $2 million budget hole if the plan moved forward. While supporters argued the move would provide vital relief during a cost of living crisis, opponents say the responsibility lies with the state government to update rebates that haven't moved since 1993. The council will now lobby the local government minister for a formal review. Lachlan Shire Mayor John Medcalf says the discovery of a body believed to be Julian Ingram this week will allow the Lake Cargelligo community to finally begin healing. In a statement marking International Nurses Day yesterday, the Mayor praised the resilient community and thanked the first responders and education staff who have supported local families through the tragedy. He says while the development won't bring victims back, it offers a collective sigh of relief for the region. Wagga Council has blocked a push to massively expand the Burrinjuck Dam. In a meeting on Monday, councillors voted against a motion to lobby the federal government for a 4,000 gigalitre rebuild of the century-old structure. The Daily Advertiser reports that while the dam upgrade was rejected, the council did secure $250,000 in state funding to accelerate regional housing projects. Berrigan Shire Council is calling for an urgent overhaul of river management, warning that unstable water levels are undermining the local tourism industry. In a submission to the Murray-Darling Basin Plan Review, Mayor Julia Cornwell-McKean slammed current policy as a failure, citing major financial losses for boat mechanics and event organisers. The council is demanding the MDBA prioritise whole-of-economy water flows to protect regional jobs and the visitor economy. Cobar Shire Council is fast-tracking its 2026 housing strategy to keep pace with a massive expansion at the CSA mine. Harmony Mining is investing up to $60 million into the QTS Deeps project, which features Australia's deepest diamond drilling program. The Western Plains app reported that to house the required specialist crew, a temporary 50-person exploration camp is being proposed. While typically restricted, the council is moving to support the camp under state planning policies to ensure the project and the region's long-term economic stability stays on track. And finally, in this New South Wales report, Sutherland Shire Council has released its beach season report card. It says its lifeguards have wrapped up a demanding beach season with rapidly changing surf conditions and heavy crowds. More than 6 million people visited patrolled beaches, with 750 rescues and nearly 4,700 first aid treatments. Crews responded to 51 critical incidents, and the council says water safety education reached more than 3,000 people. Off-season patrols will continue at Cronulla and North Cronulla, with full services returning for the September school holidays. Moving on to Queensland, prosecutors have dropped domestic violence charges against Lockhart River Mayor Wayne Butcher in far north Queensland, according to ABC News. In the Cairns Magistrates Court on Tuesday, the prosecution offered no evidence on 7 charges linked to alleged incidents in 2022 and 2024, and the case was dismissed. Councillor Butcher has been mayor since 2012 and was charged in June last year, 3 months after being re-elected. The City of Gold Coast is back in the hot seat with the Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal, which for the second time this year has slammed the council's handling of animal management cases. A tribunal member has accused the city of unnecessary secrecy and excessive redactions regarding a dangerous dog declaration in Hope Island. The Gold Coast Bulletin reported that the member warned that withholding information from the public engenders distrust and is inimical to open government. The council says a review is now underway. Central Highlands Regional Council says acting CEO Gary Stevenson's secondment will end on May 18, with local government leader Graham Konofsky to step in from 5 p.m. on Friday. Graham has previous CEO experience at Calliope Shire and Gladstone Regional Council, and acting CEO roles at Moreton Bay, Balonne and Flinders Shire councils. Mayor Janice Moriarty thanked Mr Stevenson for stepping in after the recent sudden departure of Aaron Johansson and says recruitment for a permanent CEO is continuing. And Brisbane City Council has backflipped on plans to crack down on short-stay rentals like Airbnb and Stays, shelving a proposed permit system, according to ABC News. Lord Mayor Adrian Schrinner said uncertainty over foreshadowed federal tax changes to housing investment makes added regulation inappropriate right now. But Labor opposition leader Jared Cassidy says the move is a capitulation to the short-stay industry at the expense of renters. We're in Tasmania now, and independent Claire Glade Wright has been officially declared the winner of the Huon Legislative Council seat following the May 2nd ballot. The Mercury reported that in her victory speech outside Parliament House, the former Kingborough Deputy Mayor vowed to end partisan attack dynamics in favour of community-led collaboration. More details to come on that vacancy on Kingborough Council in the days ahead. Northern Midlands Deputy Mayor Janet Lambert has announced she will retire from local government in October, ending a 15-year career in the council chambers. First elected in 2011, Councillor Lambert told the Examiner that a major health scare involving her husband last year has prompted a change in perspective, leading her to prioritise family and her young grandchild. Reflecting on her tenure, she's highlighted the growth of the municipality and student bursaries as key achievements. She's encouraging fresh faces to contest the upcoming October elections. Burnie residents are taking their fight to a state tribunal following the City Council's controversial decision to sell public green space at Brickport Road. According to the Advocate, some locals are describing the move to auction the reserve for housing as a kick in the guts, claiming they were promised the land would be developed into parkland. The council maintains the land is surplus and needed for housing, with the final outcome now resting with Tascat. And Kingborough Council has unveiled a new large-scale mural in Kingston as part of an arts-based graffiti prevention initiative created in partnership with local street artist Jake Seven. The work was painted with Kingston High School students during Term 1. It features a wedge-tailed eagle over a coastal landscape from Kingston Beach to Blackmans Bay, and it's located beside the Kingston Health Centre. Let's go to South Australia. Adelaide City Councillor Henry Davis is facing a formal reprimand following an investigation by the State Ombudsman. The Advertiser reports that the watchdog found Councillor Davis committed misconduct by repeatedly refusing to vote on council motions, including a major $83 million financial plan. Davis argues the motions were legally flawed and says he's only apologising under extreme duress to avoid further legal action. The Ombudsman warns the behaviour shows a lack of integrity in public administration. Mid-Murray Council Chief Executive Ben Scales has announced he'll resign in July, according to the Murray Bridge News. It comes just a week after the Mayor Simone Bailey said she won't be contesting the November council elections, and it's the latest in a string of South Australian council CEOs to step down. Mr Scales says it's been a rewarding 7 years steering the council through COVID, the River Murray floods and a major financial sustainability review that helped to cut debt. He's expected to move into the not-for-profit sector, and the council will begin recruiting a new CEO in the coming weeks. And a sentence has been handed down after Adelaide Hills Council successfully launched a prosecution over an unauthorised development. The Environment Resources and Development Court heard the owner built a large shed on a Kersbrook property after approval was refused and failed to comply with council enforcement notices. The defendant pleaded guilty to 2 offences and was fined $22,000 plus more than $3,000 in costs and fees. From Western Australia, the city of Swan is set to vote tonight on a $50,000 independent review of its planning department following years of resident complaints. WA Today reports that the review, if approved, will scrutinise the council's planning processes and decision-making over the last 6 years, with a specific focus on the Vines locality. While council staff maintain that past decisions have followed regulatory requirements, a majority of councillors back the motion in the interest of transparency. If passed tonight, a new committee will be formed to oversee the investigation, with results expected by the end of the year. Local Government Minister Hannah Beazley has announced the appointment of 3 local government adjudicators, who she says will ensure elected members adhere to the Code of Conduct. Rob Lilly will be the inaugural principal adjudicator, with Connor Fay and Lee McIntosh appointed deputy adjudicators. They'll be responsible for assessing conduct breach complaints referred to them by the local government inspector. The town of Port Hedland has joined the Australian Mining Cities Alliance, strengthening its voice on the pressures mining places on local communities. Councillors backed the move this week, citing impacts on housing, essential services and infrastructure. Port Hedland joins other major mining hubs in the alliance, including Kalgoorlie-Boulder, Karratha and the East Pilbara. And in the NT, the city of Darwin is defending a major parking blitz at the Nightcliff Seabreeze Festival that saw 136 tickets issued over the weekend. As reported by the NT News, frustrated locals have slammed the move as a revenue raise, with some residents even being fined outside their own homes. However, the council insists the sting was requested by police and traffic controllers to clear blocked driveways and emergency access points. Officials say while rangers focused on education first, the infringements were necessary for community safety. Now let's round up some global news. Starting in the UK, the minister responsible for the local government devolution process, Miata Fanbula, has resigned her post and is urging Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to set a timetable for what she calls an orderly transition. Local Government Chronicle reported that she no longer believes Sir Keir can deliver promised change. Her departure follows a wave of resignation by junior government figures and mounting pressure from Labor backbenchers after heavy local election losses. A newly elected Reform UK councillor in Essex has resigned following an investigation into extremist social media posts. The Guardian reported that Stuart Pryor, who won the highest vote share in his ward last Thursday, stepped down after the release of a dossier alleged that he made a series of racist and anti-Muslim remarks, including celebrating the rape of a Sikh woman. Reform UK says Mr Pryor's membership has been revoked. It comes as several other newly elected Reform and Green Party councillors face similar scrutiny over allegations of anti-Semitism and hate speech. Reform UK has suspended the leader of Worcestershire County Council, Joe Monk, according to the BBC. The party says the move comes after Ms Monk refused to accept a democratic decision by fellow councillors to replace her as the group's leader last month. Her son, Councillor Ashley Monk, has also been suspended. The leadership row follows a period of financial turbulence for the council. Ms Monk is expected to address the situation at a full council meeting this Thursday. To the US and a story that raises something new for the local government news roundup. The mayor of the town of Arcadia in California has resigned after the US Justice Department charged her with acting as an illegal foreign agent for China. According to The Guardian, prosecutors say Eileen Wang has agreed to plead guilty to a felony count that carries a potential 10-year prison sentence. Court documents allege she worked with others to push pro-Beijing propaganda through a website targeting the local Chinese-American community, and that the conduct ended after she took office in late 2022. City officials say no municipal staff money or decisions were involved. The mayor of Cohutta in Georgia has dissolved the town's entire police department and fired all 10 employees after officers allegedly made inappropriate Facebook comments about the mayor's wife. Mayor Ron Shinnick says they'll still be paid and it's time for a change. The county sheriff's office is expected to take over policing, reporting on that via the New York Post. Now, you know, we can't have an episode without a data centre story of some type, and this one's a little different. Panthalassa, a Portland-based ocean technology company, has raised $140 million in investor funding to build autonomous floating nodes that generate electricity from ocean waves. That energy would then be used to run AI computer chips at sea, sending results back to land by satellite. Panthalassa says a pilot manufacturing facility near Portland will be completed with the new funding, with first Ocean 3 deployments planned for 2026 and commercial rollouts targeted for 2027. That might be a solution for data centre locations. Just put them out at sea. We'll watch that one with interest. In Canada, a new report to Vancouver City Council reveals a record high in the city's homeless population, with a sharp rise in women and minority groups. According to CBC News, Vancouver's unhoused population hit over 2,700 people last year, a 12% increase from 2023. The data highlights a disproportionate impact on Indigenous and Black residents, while women now account for nearly 30% of those without stable housing. Officials cite rising evictions and low incomes as primary drivers of the crisis. And finally, from Japan, a town council in the northeast of the country has taken the rare step of voting to remove its mayor in unusual circumstances. 72-year-old Kikuyo Hatakeyama has been unconscious for several months. The long-serving mayor of Hichiragata suffered a brain hemorrhage in February. BBC News reports that because local law prevents family members from resigning on a mayor's behalf, the Assembly unanimously passed a no-confidence motion as the only legal way to vacate the seat. And that's our podcast for today, and that's the last regular episode for a short time. We're taking a break, but don't fear, we've got some special episodes lined up to keep you company over the next 10 days or so. Look out for a special edition on Friday, covering that new UNSW report on the homelessness crisis and how local governments are being stretched across the country to respond to that. My thanks to the Victorian Local Governance Association, our foundation sponsor, for its ongoing support for the podcast. Also to Symphony 3 and to Rath Engineering Development for their support. It's greatly appreciated, as is yours as listeners and subscribers. Thank you so much for your support for the Local Government News Roundup. It wouldn't be possible to deliver these episodes without that support. Head to lgnewsroundup.com for more on this episode, including story links and for breaking news between episodes. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Rath Engineering Development, smarter systems for local government, like Red GMS, helping councils manage gravel pits and projects, track quality, test results, blending options and haulage, and know the true cost per tonne from day one. Rath Engineering Development can give you a one-off report that uses your existing pit data to pinpoint the best gravel sources for your next resheeting program or disaster restoration works, saving your council time and money. For local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience, talk to the team at Rath Engineering Development. Head to rathed.com.au to find out more.